Now on CoastTV News.
AI Advantage, how Delaware is leading the nation with a new program to train students and workers in artificial intelligence. Solar Opportunity, Georgetown homeowners could get a chance to add solar panels, how a new battery would make it possible. And a discipline fight. The Lewis Fire Department president upholds former Chief Bill Buckaloo's punishment, but some members are pushing back.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Troops on the streets, communities across the country are watching as the federal government considers sending the National Guard to more cities. Good evening, and thank you for joining us after the game. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Well, since deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C., President Trump has repeatedly said his administration could target Chicago next. As Sherelle Hubbard reports today, lawmakers from both cities were outspoken about federal troops in their towns.
Chicago is bracing for potential National Guard activity. Officials in Illinois say they hear troops will be in Chicago by the weekend.
Trying like hell to keep them away.
I do understand that there's a level of anxiety that does exist in our city.
This week, President Trump warned of a troop deployment to Chicago, much like what's happened in Washington, D.C. D.C. residents and lawmakers held a rally at the Capitol Thursday to call for an end to the federal takeover.
When I say free, you say D.C. Free! D.C. Free! D.C.
Washington, D.C. officials are now suing the Trump administration over the deployment.
Donald Trump's militarization of D.C. has nothing to do with public safety and everything to do with terror and intimidation.
The lawsuit filed Thursday by D.C.'s Attorney General claims troops are illegally acting as local police by patrolling neighborhoods and carrying out searches and arrests.
It's no secret he's targeting our immigrant neighbors and black kids, specifically black boys. That is dangerous. That is dehumanizing.
The lawsuit also accuses the president of violating the Constitution and federal law by sending troops in without consent from local leaders. The White House claims the lawsuit is an attempt to, quote, undermine Trump's efforts to crack down on crime in the nation's capital.
If you look at Washington, D.C., 3 weeks ago, it was the same or worse. And now it's considered a totally safe zone.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And President Trump has warned other Democrat-led U.S. cities like Baltimore, New Orleans, and New York City to take notice. Now we'll switch it up and turn it over to the weather. Here's a live look into Milford, and our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams has what we need to know. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you. Well, what we have right now actually is a little bit of clear skies for us, relatively light winds with the look of what's happening, with temperatures right now in the 70s and falling very quickly into the 60s for tonight with partly cloudy skies. Now, the winds are right now pushing out of the southwest pretty steadily, and we've had some gusts up to 25 miles per hour in the Indian River Inlet, 18 mile per hour gusts out of the southwest in Bethany Beach, 23 mile per hour gusts for us actually in Ocean City. Now, the current wave heights have gone up just a little bit, but not by much. We're still holding at about 5 feet for the waves for right now. And we have continuously, from earlier, we had some concern for some very gusty winds, but right now we continue to keep a close eye on with coastal possible flooding, which is looking at real minimum at best. But overall, we're really going to be more concerned about the UV index staying at a very high level as we go into Friday. We're going to be a level of 8 with just possibility of burning as quick as 35 minutes. Now, the heat and the humidity is also going to start cranking up. We'll talk about that in your full forecast. Till then, back to you, Christina.
Paul, thank you. Well, Delaware is making history, becoming the first state in the nation to partner with OpenAI on a new certification program. Governor Matt Meyer created a new Office of Workforce Development earlier this year, and that office will now lead the rollout of AI training and certifications in schools, jobs, also workplaces, and the governor says the goal is to prepare Delawareans of all ages for the jobs of the future. We also have a full article about all of this on CoastTV.com right now. Check it out. Well, Georgetown homeowners may finally get a chance to go solar. Right now, too much solar energy can overload the local power grid, so new panels actually aren't allowed in Georgetown, but the Delaware Electric Co-op tells us they have a plan to fix that by adding a large battery to the Bruce Henry Solar Farm. It would store extra energy when the sun is shining and then release it when demand is high, keeping the grid stable. That means about 100 homes could soon install solar panels. A building moratorium was up for discussion in Dagsboro tonight. CoastTV photojournalist Matt Hipsman shows us why the town is considering limiting new construction.
We do have a moratorium on building right now and building permits. As part of that, in order to be responsible, the town is trying to take a look at some of the fees and the impact fees that we have and plan for how that could look in the future. So today we're really been reevaluating those, seeing what our current fees look like, our fee structures, and then how potentially we can alter or change those in order to make sure that as the town continues to grow, like many of the towns around here, we do so in a fiscally responsible way.
Love the history of it. They love keeping it the same. It's just good old Dagsboro is what everyone continues to say. So we'd love to try to keep that the same as much as we can.
Really, the ultimate goal is that we don't have major changes. I think we've heard a lot from the town. We've heard a lot from the people here. I think people really enjoy Dagsboro. It's a small town, but there's a lot of charm. How do we make sure that we balance the growth that the entire state is seeing right now, but also in a way that allows us to continue to keep that Dagsboro charm and continue to keep the current what is Dagsboro feeling.
People just love the feeling of the restaurant, walking down the street, everything just, staying the same. Not too many more businesses is what you keep hearing. Everyone is just like a big old family, and I love that.
Well, we have new exclusive information tonight on the decision-making process surrounding former Lewis Fire Chief Bill Buckaloo's suspension. Buckaloo was suspended from the department in July after making what the department called a derogatory comment. An email from sources now shows that comment was the N-word. And at Tuesday's fire department meeting, the department decided Buckaloo could come back after serving his suspension. But as CoastTV's Emma Aiken explains, members of the fire department tell us that decision-making process violated the department's bylaws.
Our sources Tuesday night tell us Fire President Wally Evans read a letter from an attorney he consulted with and slammed a gavel that they're keeping the ruling as is and it's not up for discussion, meaning Buckaloo is suspended for 60 days and can come back to the department. After that announcement, sources say some members began to speak up, demanding Buckaloo's case should go in front of a disciplinary board. Sources also say Vice President John Colpo sits on the disciplinary board. The vice president previously approved Buckaloo's punishment, meaning it would not go to a disciplinary board, according to our sources. Sources say some members were so upset that they got up and left the meeting. Sources tell us, in their opinion, most members wanted a harsher punishment for Buckaloo. Indeed, sources say Buckaloo's current penalty violates the department's bylaws because punishment should have been progressively worse, considering he's been in trouble in the past. Back in 2018, Buckaloo was arrested by Lewis police for disorderly conduct after urinating off a dock. And in 2020, while serving as assistant chief, Buckaloo was suspended for a Facebook post that included a slur aimed at a drag performer following a show in Rehoboth Beach.
And that was Emma Aiken reporting. We will continue to pursue this story and the individuals involved. Now, following Buckaloo's suspension, the Lewis Fire Department held an election to pick a new fire chief, Robert Stevens, now currently serving that role. In full disclosure, the current fire chief, Robert Stevens, is the husband of CoastTV's assistant news director and anchor, Madeline Overturf. This does bring us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know what you think about all this. Should Buckaloo keep his membership? You can see some mixed results here. More people saying no than yes. We also ran the same poll yesterday in our 6 p.m. show. You can see those results showed 29 yes and 71% no. You can still vote. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app, and that's where you can see some updated results. On your screen now is Griffith Lake Drive between Williamsville Road and Meadowbrook Lane in Milford. DelDOT says this area will be closed due to painting the bridge over Griffith Lake Spillway. That work starts September 16th and it's expected to be complete by mid-October. Parents in Wicomico County are pushing for safety improvements in schools. This comes after a scary start to the school year at Parkside High. We first reported yesterday an 18-year-old student was arrested for carrying a loaded handgun. The Wicomico County Sheriff's Office quickly took the student into custody. Nobody was hurt. Still, parents are pushing for solutions, but they're not exactly sure what those solutions should be.
But there's not a parent would gripe if they had to help pay for it, because there's just some things you cannot put a price tag on.
And Wicomico County Superintendent and Board of Education did a joint statement saying that, among other actions, they are looking to install more metal detectors. Well, the legal battle over an offshore wind project off Delmarva rages on. U.S. Wind has now filed a cross-claim against the Trump administration. The offshore wind developer arguing that federal agencies are illegally trying to undo Biden-era permits that cleared the project. Last month, the administration notified a federal court of its intent to withdraw the permits. U.S. Wind is now asking a Maryland court to declare its approvals valid and block the administration from reversing them. The Trump administration says an official remand of U.S. Wind's approval expected by next week. And we are just getting started tonight. Coming up ahead on Capitol Hill, RFK Jr. facing calls to step down as health secretary. But first, why one person took it upon himself to start a bocce ball league in Ocean Pines in this week's Coastal Connections.
And we take a look at our Bay forecast. Friday 89, Saturday 89, but then we dropped to 72. Why is that going to happen? I'll explain why in your full forecast coming up.
In Ocean Pines, neighbors are finding new ways to connect. One person's love for bocce ball has turned into a league that brings dozens of people together. In this week's Coastal Connections, Kevin Zappé introduces us to the folks who are making that happen and shows us how one game is strengthening both friendships and the community.
Mike Galello has lived in Ocean Pines for years, and when he saw two perfect bocce ball sets at the Ocean Pines Yacht Club, he took it upon himself to start a league.
It's a fascinating game, and people have been asking about it. We had a residential recreation court here originally, and it was being overused, so we thought, why not?
What started as a simple email asking if anyone would like to join turned into dozens of people wanting to play.
A lot of people are really interested in the game. We had people that came up to us and said, you know, because of our physical ailments, this game fits us perfect. We can come, we can play, it's social. So it's really a fantastic game.
And so the first ever bocce ball league in Ocean Pines started this summer with 24 teams and 72 people playing throughout the week. But for many, this was their first time ever throwing the ball, which led to people asking, how do you play bocce ball?
Essentially what the game is all about is that there's a smaller ball called the baleen. It's thrown first, then each team has an opportunity of 4 balls to get it as close as possible to score points.
Elaine Brady has lived in Ocean Pines for years, and this is her first time ever playing bocce ball. And she loves the game and all the new people she met in her community.
And I'm going to leave you
alone.
Don't
leave me So many new friends through this. It's a lot of fun. And you're meeting new people. I was surprised in the first year that we're doing this that it has become so popular.
This not only brings a fun and competitive sport that anyone can play, but a sense of connection and friendships being made along the way. According to Galello, the Summer League has had so much success that registration is now open for the Fall League. And you can sign up at the Ocean Pines Community Center between now and September 18th. I'm Kevin Zappé in Ocean Pines, CoastTV News.
Right now, we are expecting for the heat and humidity to kick in for us, especially for Friday and Saturday, and then it'll cool back off on Sunday, but that's not until we get a couple of seriously summer-like days out of the way. Temperatures in the 70s right now throughout Ocean View. We're at 70s uniformly throughout a lot of the entire Delmarva Peninsula at this point, 73 in Milton, as well as Seaford, Georgetown, Laurel, and then the Delmar. Now, the winds are pushing out of the southwest right now. We're getting some wind gusts up to like 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts for us in Indian River Inlet. Now, earlier this evening, well, Thursday evening at 10 o'clock, earlier rather, we had a small craft advisory that was issued for our area. It's been allowed to expire thus far, and we have been tracking some scattered showers from earlier this evening. They pushed on across rather expeditiously, and now we prepare for the summertime heat and humidity to come back in full regalia. 88 for the high. For example, in as well as Rehoboth Beach and Lewis. 88 for the high in Georgetown, all the way up towards Harrington, and just 2 degrees cooler than that in Dover, just as an example of how warm it really is across the board. 86 for the high in Federalsburg, as well as Vienna. 83 for the high in Cambridge, and we're going to warm to 86 degrees in Berlin, as well as Snow Hill. For Friday along the coast, temperatures, everybody's in the 80s, and everybody's going to be in abundance of sunshine. The UV index is going to be at a level 8, so you will be burned easily within 35 minutes if you're not careful, if you're not wearing your sun block. So 7 o'clock in the morning, we start off in the 60s, 66. We'll warm to 89 in Long Neck, 87 in Millsboro, for example. Winds out of the southwest, mainly clear. We stay clear for Saturday morning. We start off in the 70s. You caught that, right? For Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, we see the temperatures climbing to near 90 degrees. Okay, now, then this is going to happen right around, let's say, between 7 and 9 o'clock. That's the time frame I'm watching out for a thunderstorm to pop up between Georgetown and Milton, as well as over towards Seaford. It's going to be a very fast mover, so likely to be very strong, possibly even severe. And we're going to have muggy conditions till we get to, let's say, Sunday when the rain hits and the cold front pushes through, and then it's going to dramatically drop us to very comfortable conditions. The dew point temperature is going to fall significantly. But because heat and humidity is tied directly to how much mosquito activity we deal with, Friday is going to be on the high side, Saturday is going to be on the very high side, and then we'll go back down to a moderate level of mosquito activity after that. And our rain chances stay pretty much concentrated on possibly Saturday, and we can see that slice of rain that's going to push through on Saturday with the warm air coming out of the south, but they're going to be moving out of the way very rapidly. Finally, here's a look at the extended forecast. Now, keep in mind, we're going to have these 2 more days of summer-like heat and humidity. After that, we fall into the fall-like pattern with cooler conditions with highs in the 70s and lows well into the mid-50s.
All right, got it. Thank you, Paul. The Florida Department of Health will be working to end all vaccine mandates in the state. The announcement was made Wednesday by Florida Department of Health Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo during a press conference with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The state's Department of Health and the governor's office are working together to end the requirement of vaccinations, but they're not banning vaccinations.
But I think most people have really gotten interested in this in the advent of how the medical establishment acted during the COVID-19 pandemic. And you had a situation where so many of these entrenched elites were turning towards coercive measures, trying to dictate your behavior through various non-pharmaceutical interventions, mandates, pushing products on people that they didn't want.
Now, Florida does currently require students attending public school to get vaccinations. Meanwhile, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was in the hot seat on Capitol Hill Thursday amid calls for his resignation. Karen Kafa is on Capitol Hill with the latest about the nation's vaccine policies and more.
This 3-hour Senate hearing got pretty contentious pretty much right off the bat, with a protester interrupting Kennedy's opening statement, and then Democrats quickly slamming Kennedy's leadership and his reshaping of government health agencies.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. defending his decision to fire the director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We need bold, competent, and creative new leadership at CDC. People able and willing to chart a new course.
The hearing before the Senate Finance Committee was scheduled to focus on the Trump administration's 2026 healthcare agenda. But on the heels of Kennedy's ouster of former CDC Director Susan Monarez, Democrats quickly slammed his leadership and his longtime claims against vaccines and how that undermines public trust.
Sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are. You're the ones who conflate chronic disease with the need for vaccines.
2 Republican physicians expressing concern about the Trump administration's changes to vaccine policy. John Barrasso of Wyoming saying Kennedy isn't upholding vaccine standards as promised during confirmation.
The public has seen measles outbreaks, leadership in the National Institute of Health questioning the use of mRNA vaccines. Americans don't know who to rely on.
Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, critical of new FDA limits on COVID-19 vaccines.
I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Kennedy argued current policy doesn't deny anyone a COVID-19 booster, although it is now state dependent, and he defended his controversial moves to reshape government public health agencies.
If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job.
Kennedy's appearance came the day after more than 1,000 former and current HHS employees signed onto a letter calling on him to resign, a call echoed by some Democrats on the panel Thursday. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kafa.
Coming up tonight, timeless, sleek, and iconic, we look back at the life and legacy of Giorgio Armani.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Looks like the Powerball jackpot has catapulted into a staggering $1.7 billion prize. And that's because no winner matched all 6 numbers in Wednesday's drawing, according to the Multi-State Lottery Association. The next drawing is Saturday night. It'll be the 3rd largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. Your odds of winning, not too bad, just about $292.2 million. One in that million, by the way. Well, early economic data for August is not painting the best picture of the economy. New metrics released Thursday show private sector businesses reined in hiring last month. Payroll company ADP's report shows they added about half the number of jobs they did in July. Last month was the worst August for layoff announcements since the Great Recession of the late 2000s. The latest data sets up August jobs report that is expected to show another month of low job gains. Well, Giorgio Armani being remembered for sophisticated design and understated elegance. The Italian fashion designer died today at the age of 91. Reporter Kurt Gregory looks at the life of one of fashion's biggest names.
The man who became synonymous with style began his career as a merchandiser at an Italian department store. He went from buying clothes to creating them when he became a designer for various companies and began working on his signature style. In 1975, Armani's business partner convinced him to start his own line of ready-to-wear clothes. His fashions became known for sleek design and rich fabrics. Giorgio Armani evolved into one of the most sought-after fashion labels in the world. By 2001, he was called the most successful designer that Italy has ever produced. But beneath the elegant facade, Armani drove himself and those who he worked with.
It implies very cruel decisions at times. The girl is happy, everybody's happy. I say, no, it doesn't work. That sometimes is hard.
Some of Armani's biggest customers were in Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio among the stars who were fixtures at his runway shows. Armani is credited with pioneering red carpet fashion, and he dressed celebrities for countless award shows. But Armani will be remembered not as someone who simply designed clothes, but for the distinctive and unique styles he created. Kurt Gregory, NBC News.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good evening, sports fans. Football Friday is less than 24 hours away. Tune into the Delmarva Sports Network on Friday night to see Parkside take on Del Mar.
Del Mar and Parkside are about to do battle on DSN Friday night, and it's certainly one you won't want to miss, as the teams surprisingly don't play as often as you might think. This is just the second meeting between Del Mar and Parkside since the 1980s. I asked the coaches if the proximity to each other will factor into the matchup, and they said the kids are just focused on winning, no matter the opponent.
There's always that the kids got an opportunity. I'm sure they played, different teams, whether it's baseball, lacrosse, whatever it might be. But I don't really think of it in that fashion. It's just another opportunity to get going on a Friday night. It's nice to have a first game in a quality environment. They're a good program, so I think that's a good thing for us. We need to just keep working and get better every day that we're out here.
We would like to play more instead of traveling 2 hours up the road to DMA, and we tried real hard to get a local team, but we just weren't able to do that. So I think we could build a nice little rivalry with them because they do know each other, parents know each other, work together, and there'd be some talking during the week. But as of right now, I don't know. I haven't heard any of that myself.
The Rams and Wildcats kick off at 7:30 p.m. Friday night with yours truly and Dustin Mills on the call.
That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, everyone.
Now here's a look outside into Lewis. We'll have one more check on your forecast after this. It's almost time to celebrate all the things that make Delmarva a great place to live. Everyone is invited to the Shore Living Expo. It features local vendors, live demonstrations, and more. And it's all happening Saturday from 10 to 4 at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center in Salisbury. And by the way, it's almost Friday, so here's your weekly reminder that you can get a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with our weekly newsletter. There's personal features, fun things to do every weekend, and more. And you can sign up for free. Just go to coasttv.com/signup.
All right, let's take a look at Salisbury, who are now looking very clear for us right now. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Idario De Frietas of Salisbury. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. Now remember, you can keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. It's available 24 hours a day. Your forecast, remember, is just a call away. The number to call is 443-880-9100, and this is sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Now, for the first couple of Friday and Saturday, we're going to warm to 89 degrees. Possibly the heat index will climb to the mid-90s. A good old-fashioned summer kind of day. Watching out for a chance of a good old-fashioned summer-type thunderstorm, particularly for Saturday. Don't be surprised if we have some early morning storms for around 3 to 4 o'clock this morning. So keep that in mind as well.
All right, thank you again, Paul, and thanks to you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can always find more news, more local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.